I have a problem with my light. My light bulb is out and I don't have a ladder. I wanted to get into, or like ask myself even, about what is already implied in the word consciousness, because everybody's going to want to almost seemingly have something to say for your usage of that word, like for what it means, for what you're trying to express, because we'll like try to get you in the right frame of mind. It's not that they're trying to brainwash you, but you have to know what's implied, because do you mean it this way or you mean that way? Because everything is consciousness, and you're gonna, when you think about what a word consciousness means, you're gonna want to improve, maximize, or increase it just by virtue of what it is and finding out about it and questioning whether you are. And the reason that because there's been a conscious community, and it doesn't necessarily mean that the people in that community are conscious, but the ones that's for your purpose for or intention for the use of the word consciousness. I'm not the first to say this. And in trying to organize together to fi or to bolster a community around increasing something like consciousness, it's going to imply that you're trying to escape a lawless army of dead people, of the dead, which is not too far-fetched. I can see nothing but precedent for anyone, many people, trying to escape a army of the dead, of lawless dead people, because it's not really necessary that everybody has to be productive all the time, and you don't really know what you're earning, if you're earning, because you're earning a rate. You're not earning something that could give more legitimacy to what we consider an asset, because for different purposes, different assets has different facilitations or characteristics or whatever. Like there's only two things that gold can do. It doesn't tarnish, and it's malleable, and it doesn't tarnish. And just those two things alone make it one of the hardest currencies. Just soft metal, but it's hard currency. So, but then again, if I try to give gold for food at a taco stand, someplace where they don't have it would give them a problem. Like, now I got this gold, but like, what am I gonna do? Like, how am I gonna sell this gold? Am I gonna get robbed and beat over? At some point in time, somebody's gonna try to give me some bad news why I can't get a good price, or gaslight me, or put something in my drink, or knock me out or something. There's all these problems. Plus the question of whether you should hold on to it longer. You don't know if you're going to get your order filled. And at the time when the value goes up, less and less people has access to off-ramps. So there's going to be just a lot of people with, after you take away the liquidity, because there's liquidity for people who have exposure to it at different times when you get edged off of your position, so that it can compensate you, so that you can rise. But a lot of things, it's like, well, should seem like logical, makes sense, that I should have gold and buy gold, but not everybody's the same. You shouldn't buy a house. A lot of people shouldn't buy a car. A lot of people shouldn't invest in a college education. A lot of people shouldn't do every and anything. Why is it different for one person than the next person? Who's and it's not. It's not different from one person to the next person, but maybe you're not lined up to be able to transact, and there's, you know, not always good intentions behind the reasons given for regulating. It's like it's like just because we know that we need something doesn't mean that's going to be done out of uh, stewardship and like trying to nurture healthy markets and economies, because everybody just be at some point trying to escape the community, trying to escape their tax bracket, trying to escape their uh, even your gated community. You know what I mean? There's going to be people in that gated community that want to white flight. Like white. Nobody should take offense to white flight. What it means. There's always going to be white flight. Even amongst the whites, there's going to be somebody that considers all the other white people not pure enough. You know what I mean? And it's because they got to keep the power in the family, and that's why they get Morphan syndrome. Like what's inside the Ark of the Covenant will unscramble your DNA. It's all this power that's been placed in the Ark of the Covenant. It's been placed in there. So, like, I'm not proclaiming to know what it is. You know what I mean? People could say they have it and be stewards of it and not let anybody see it, the same that you won't let anybody see the gold in Fort Knox. And I can understand, because once anybody can see it, then they can just have your shit. They can vandalize it. They can steal it. And so it's like, maybe just the way that you preface or refer to a certain asset class that tells whether or not you're the sole executor. And so, like, the sole executor of the Ark of the Covenant is St. Michael's. It's not a cathedral. It's St. Michael's Church in in Addis Ababa, right? Well, they say they has the Ark of the Covenant. I mean, I'm not gonna say yes or no. I'm not gonna say yes or no. Maybe they're protecting anybody from opening it up, or maybe it's not that serious. Like, because I think that there's more that I don't know than that I do understand. But we know that people that can consolidate, that are really, like, it's the problem with the dynastics. They like to consolidate their power to the effect that they keep it in the family, and that's why they had the extended jaw, the Morphan syndrome, Akhenaten. That's why because it's inbreeding. I mean, like, don't be surprised to find out that we had stuff like that in Africa. You know what I mean? Like, if people think it's a stain, or white flight means that there's something wrong with you. Don't you want to escape your community too? Just like most normal, sane people in a community should be. People that want to stay in the community, and they're just a grift, and they're trying to target the younger generation to keep their hustle alive, to keep their old, tired hustle going. And then they keep telling them that they're the ones that are going to make the difference, and they're the ones that are towing the line, and that they're so important, and they're kind of like exalting them, but they're stealing. They're going around taking their future from underneath them. Because like, you're like, children are always going to want to honor their parents. They're always going to, even if their parents are wrong, they're not going to be prepared to fight for the honor of their parents, because they'll be wrong too. But I mean, that everybody has a certain amount of time to figure out what you want to replicate, what type of if you want positive or negative reinforce, whether you resonate positive or negative reinforcement. Everybody has a time limit when they get these problems, and then they have to nip it out the bud. And it starts with like bedwetting, pyromania, bedwetting. There was animal abuse. Those three things, because everybody has anti-seductive parts of the characteristics of their personality. Who's this, what is it to say something about somebody else, or for me to self-aggrandize and say anything about myself, if you still have before you, the work is left to complete, still before you. So it doesn't matter what we say or what we identify as, or all these things, because we can make anything into our religion. You can escape religion just to turn around and make everything a religion. We can, it's just like kind of like the way that what happened to sports. You know what I mean? Started out that children are at play up until a certain time, preparing to have the naturally, or the bedside manner, the organically forming bedside manner. Before you get into academics, you were supposed to be at play, because some of your friends are going to die. They're not going to get to full age. And you have to understand why they can't come out and play. You have to think about that. You have to figure out that they're actually alive. Just like you have to start seeing that your playmate isn't a toy that they could break. And then you get into academia. Duh. What for? But I'm not saying, not saying you're bad because you're using sports to gamble. You're getting drunk at a tailgate party, and your son is seeing you, watching you, holding yourself back. And it's a little bit of barbarism going on there. Just taking the fun, you know what I mean? Because as long as you're playing, they're getting what they need. But when, at some point you have to say that, okay, what really is important is that what the team does is so that we can win. Because you play t-ball up to a certain point, and they don't count the you have the premise of the sport, but you don't have the outcome of a tournament where somebody disqualifies, or what's everybody else, where somebody bounces everybody else out, and then at the top, and then you say, I'm the winner. You know what I mean? Because they have to figure out how to be a good winner, not a sore winner. Not a sore loser, but also not a sore winner. And then you wouldn't be amazed at a fucking average grown-up who's on the ball with a perspective. You wouldn't be like, holy shit, like, you actually have it together. You know what I mean? Like, I don't pat myself on the back for being regular and shit. You know what I mean? For not pressuring your children to perform or something in sports. It's like fucking, because you don't want to pay scholarships or something. Like, not everybody even has to go to college. And that's why they be fighting at the games and stuff. They be taking shit so seriously. Because you think that if they don't study hard and get a degree, get a job, slave, scrimp, and save, that you're not gonna make it. Nobody makes it. That's the other thing. Nobody makes it. There's people that are stepping into their billions, millions, and billions of dollars in their estates with health problems that are going to die any minute, any second. What can they do to be their soul at rest? What can they do with the remaining time to put their soul at rest? And we already know the answer. We get together at the funeral and we say the same thing. They say that, oh, they wanted us to come together. You know what I mean? And the whole time, none of the family wanted to come together. And then it'll be the get, like, when at the wedding you give the flowers to the next person that's gonna get married. When you die, you give the fucking urgency to want to um uh think and work like a business to pool your resources for more power to be able to affect more things like operations, braces, people that might actually be need to get sent off to university because that is it's more for them than it is for anybody else, and it's all shit that we already knows. It's just like, yeah, any degenerate shit is going to be anybody trying to act in ignorant of the fact because they think that they're going somewhere with car keys jingling, like you can hear them, and you know that they'll be right back. You're like, you know what I'm saying? Acting like you're going to go somewhere and you ain't going nowhere, you'll be right back. Even if you do go anywhere, you'll be right back. Because Kanye West can give $160 million to Morgan Stanley and get treated like shit. So, you know what I mean? Like, don't even feel no, what's it called? We're not responsible to giving all of our energy over to someone who's acting constipated bureaucrats. It is constipated bureaucrats too. And then after we pay our membership dues, then we mistake acceptance for intrinsic superiority. Oh, my bad. Oh, my bad. What do you mean my bad? Wait, hold on. You did what? Bruh, you did what? No, like, I'm curious and interested in shit. Like, what's telling people how to feel? Something is telling me how to feel about shit. Like, to have this emotion, why not hold on to that, and in lieu of that just have a totally unrelated emotion, since I'm going to inevitably have that brought on by something else at some point or some event? Why be controlled by outcomes? Like, why can't I just feel however I want to feel regardless of whatever's happening? I don't know. You just have to want to become a nihilist. And I don't mean saying that you should do that. It's just, I'm just here postulating. I'm not saying that you're supposed to, like, who knows what anybody else has to make right so they can rest. Because not everybody has to do the same thing in order to rest. Right? Like, it's the message. It's the message. It gives you the urgency, and you can't, like, you know that what you're trying to do is important, but there's nothing, a true statement about the idea that you have to accomplish it. Because if anybody that you're trying to do, that you're trying to work for, like, in a sense, wanted that, they could do it themselves. And if there's people around you that are not worthy to be forgiven for shit, then they they feel like it's time to move on. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck do you mean moving on? Like, how do you, like, and then they want to ask if you're okay and everything. Like, you're putting, it's like mind control. It's like, oh, now I gotta feel some kind of way. I forgave you. You won't let me forgive you. You won't let me forgive you. Or I'm not supposed to. I'm not supposed to because there's nothing's different about the person. They wanted to get away with it. They wanted to do it and get away with it, and be done with you. You know what I mean? Like, in a sense, like, because you're forcing them to recall or bring something up or something. So at some and it's like they want to be a title higher than just something that would give you context, like you're a brother or something. I'm a brother, or I'm a son, right? Or I'm a nephew, or I'm an uncle. You know what I mean? Like, and you don't, like, these things don't require you to do things to float my tired hustle. Hope floats. Hope floats. Plus, children aren't born with hustles and stuff. They're not born with it, with some kind of hustle, right? The hustles, we already have a subconscious awareness that they are based on some other idiosyncrasies of somebody with bad habits, where they don't either have ignorance, or they don't know how to handle something on their own, or because they have a habit that somebody has to come and manage and help them maintain and provide a service or a product or something that you shouldn't even probably have, or something, like. And I'm not saying anybody should stop, because nobody's allowed to get off your hustle, right? I mean, something, you have to have some hustle. Here I am telling you that you need to have a hustle, and the other breath I was telling you that children aren't born in this world with no kind of hustles. You know what I mean? Like, we can change, like, that's where words have the meaning behind it gets changed, right? So, like, everybody talking about transmissibility is making everybody scared of germaphobe. You got to wear the mask. Transmissibility, even that doesn't help you, right? But really, what's fucking us up the most is if you can't trust yourself to signal that you've received a transmission. It comes down to about a transmission, and you radiate. So it's like you are radiation. And not everybody want to see you shine. But then they don't know how to duck, and they don't know how to think. Like, they actually have against thinking about anything spiritually. You know what I mean? Like, spiritually, it's like you're abstracted. And they have a perimeter that is like a wall, like a barrier, to where they could see before it happens if the spirit is trying to reach them. And then they get busy. You know what I mean? Like, they're trying to distract you. They're messing with things that can distract you. They're only interested in anything that is like lockdownerism, NIMBYism, pumping fear, exploiting the population that has Munchausen by proxy, exploiting the population that has certain mental conditions, right? That could be normal, make up an average, like almost a majority, like where it's regular, and it could be almost like in line with institutional, a treatable, manageable condition. And the people that are doing this are just trying to escape their bracket. They're just trying to get away. You know what I mean? And everything seems like they're doing it because they care, and because you need it, and keeping you safe, and regulating so that you don't get victimized in the finances, and everything is like, okay, yeah, we just because we're aware of the necessity for regulation or something, or just because we're aware that that you have a certain amount of cortisol that you can maintain, or a certain amount of immune system, or things that are required to be balanced. They're the ones coming along saying to help you out with a booster. And yeah, because that makes sense, and you can't argue that if your levels are low, that you might need to boost them, but they just like the idea of boosting, and they don't hate you and they don't want anything to happen to you. Like, they're not like want to kill you. They just want to make their money and escape. And if you give them legitimacy and validation, they resent the temptation, and they'll help they'll help you with your freeing you up from your wealth, because the word help doesn't establish whether or not you you are trying to help bring about an agreeable outcome, or a non-agreeable outcome. Because you can help me with either. You can help me relieve me of my currency. You know, it's just a word. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, you're the help. You should be insulted. You shouldn't be like, think that it makes you an essential worker or something like that. Like, it just means that there's, like, there's freaking firemen that go out and light fires when there's not enough fires. There's institutions that, like charitable institutions that are extorting and causing like enough of a problem for a subsidy bureaucratic to maintain, while you can't, or to like do some like excuse that I forgot what I'm trying to say. I forget, what is it that Amnesty International, where it's actually like it turns into extortion. You know what I mean? I don't have examples together. It's something that I was thinking about because somebody was bringing to my attention, and if they have their facts backed up, then why shouldn't you give your ear to, you ask for me to know, obviously, because you can't verify me, but it's like if you hold a chicken's head down to the ground and draw a straight line away from his beak. When you let go of his head, he'll just be stuck. He can move, like he won't be able to. And humans, it seems like we're being exploited by a subspecies of like a subspecies that actually, like, the vassal state is more powerful than the hegemonic state power, right? So it's like, if you can just imagine, I'm not the sharpest knife in this drawer, and I can imagine this shit, and if I was in the position to where I got comfortable, I could overlook it too. So why can we overlook that an organization without your interest in mind could graft your agency over onto it? Like, they're coming for everybody's energy because they don't have any agency. You know what I mean? You can get away with referring to the Golden Fort Knox as backing up our credit system because you can blow them away. You know what I mean? Because you can blow people away. And that is credit. Because nobody's blown us away. Like, if somebody blew us away, then we'd have to listen to them. Never mind.